favorite sports, Jackson State University had their NFL Pro Day on March 27, 2023. It featured Aubrey Miller, Tony Gray, Arian Hartman, Dewan Warren, Jason Mercier, Dimitri Jordan, Isaiah Bolden, Santee Marshall, Dallas Daniels, Lane McGregor, and Delano Salgado. Now, most of the scouts that were there were, it was, by the way, very well attended. They had 28 pro teams, 27 NFL teams, one Canadian Football League team that was there scouting. Most of the scouts were there to see Aubrey Miller and Isaiah Bolden. Not saying the other guys won't get looks, but that was the main coverage. With Aubrey Miller being rumored to be drafted, I mean, his the draft rumors on him are going crazy, going up and down. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. And Isaiah Bolden is having that NFL bloodline, especially what he put out today. He's gonna be in the mix to be a undrafted free agent, and knowing where he's going shortly after the draft or right before it ends. And again, as a former NFL agent, I have these, just different experiences, and I'm going to tell you all what kind of, frame of mind they're going to be on in come day three. All right, so with this, Jackson State did not. It was a private workout. They did not stream the event on their YouTube channel. They had some stuff on their IG, but it wasn't on TV or streamed on a platform or anything like that. So all these numbers I'm going to tell you are unofficial, but it is what it is. I think it's great, and I think they represented themselves well. I'm gonna start with Isaiah Bolden again. NFL bloodlines. His dad was a longtime NFL player. He can get in those NFL circles. He Isaiah Bolden signed with Young Money Sports. They put out his what he did today, and they say he measured at 6'2". He ran at 4.31. He had a vertical of 38 inches and a broad jump of 10.9, which is really, really good. Now, I will say, just to be fair, I did not see 4.31 on his tape, and I want to make sure I want to explain this the right way. When you get out of season and you can focus on certain things, especially that's really, really specific, the 40 is important, you can increase your time more than what you see on tape. So just because the guy put in a few months and he, worked on 40s and shaved his time down, that doesn't mean that's his game speed, because I didn't see him doing that on tape. I just didn't see a 4.31. But again, I could be wrong. I just didn't see it. And that's what scouts are looking at. They know, when people put and hone in on different things, they'll go back and look at the tape. But that's the good thing, though. You want to put enough numbers out there where they go to look at the tape. All right, let's go with Aubrey Miller. He did not, I looked everywhere. They did not have an official time for his 40 or rumored time of what he ran. But for the inside workouts, he had 23 reps on the bench press at 225. He had a 35.5, 35 and a half inch vertical, which is really good for his size and his position. And he did the short shuttle, and you can see here he ran the 40. Now, I will say, Aubrey's put a lot of good time, a lot of real time in the weight room. You can see that. It just shows. He looks like he has an NFL body that's ready to go. He's a bit short of like short arms, short stature. So he's going to be really vital at the point of attack, being able to fill a hole. It's just out in space, he may struggle. But, I mean, you give him that time, he'll work on it. He seems to be a grinder. I will say the teams that have been linked to him a lot have, of course, been Detroit. People, I don't know if it's just the James Houston connection because he got drafted out of Jackson State last year by Detroit, but them and the Steelers. But what I'm hearing a lot of buzz on, what I'm seeing a lot of buzz on, is the Las Vegas Raiders. So that could be a team that he can, easily go into as an organization. Now, I will go over his draft status, all right? I know I kind of did it before, but he is really bouncing around based on what my research it's what I've seen. I've had people say he can go as high as the fourth round. I've seen him, go 6, 7 to a priority undrafted free agent. And when I say priority undrafted free agent, meaning he'll have his pick between teams and he has to choose quick. So again, in my NFL agent experience, when a kid is going into day three in the draft is about to end about round six, round seven. Your phone's going to start buzzing, and it's not going to be teams saying we're going to draft you. It's going to be teams trying to recruit you. It's almost like college. They're going to say, hey, come to our organization. We'll take care of you. Our numbers aren't as high at this position. You probably can make it. All of that is game. They're just lying to you for the most part. All right, you have to do your own research because they're just trying to get as many bodies in and see who can rise to the top. They have no, most of the time, they have no interest in making no interest in saying, look, you're going to make the team. We're getting you here. We're going to make the team. They just want to have the most people there to be the most competitive situation because it's a professional atmosphere. So if you can get 10 Aubrey Miller Juniors in a room, they're going to see who's the best one. So that I wouldn't necessarily buy into what a scout is telling them or a coach is telling them at that time, but you really have a short window. So as a priority restricted free, well, undrafted free agent, you'll have your pick between teams, and that's where your agent is critical. They're going to say, these are the teams, these are your fits, this is what they're low at, and your agent or agents should be watching the draft to see how certain teams have picked before them, like before in round 1 through 6, and to make sure you have the best opportunity to make a team. That's the most important thing. So when you are in that priority phase, each team has an allotment of money. Say if it's 75, $100,000, they have to split up that money between their priority undrafted free agents. So if they really like you, they're going to give you the lion's share of that allotment. I've had, people say 25 to 50K, and usually that's topping it out because they got to give money to some other guys. So if you go to just say the Washington football team or Washington Commanders for 25,000 after the draft is ended, you weren't drafted, but they're giving you 25,000 at least, and you have a spot in a organization, and hopefully it's the best opportunity for you. That team does kind of piss me off because I did have an undrafted priority undrafted free agent there, and I don't think they gave him the right opportunity. I don't think that organization is the best, and that's one of the reasons why they're selling. Anyway, long story short, that's what's going to happen. And at the end of the sixth or the seventh round, you really got to start making decisions and try to, get your teams down to 3 to 5. Because if you wait more than necessary, that money's going to go to other guys, and you may not have that same amount. So instead of 25 to 50, they may only have 5,000 for you or 10,000 for you, or they may have nothing for you, and you just, hoping and going there, on a wing and a prayer. So that's really, really important. So I think, with Aubrey, it's really, really hard to distinguish because he's gone from priority undrafted to maybe he'll get drafted to getting a Senior Bowl invite, but not getting a combine invite. He practiced well. He really, really had a good week of practice in the Senior Bowl, but the game wasn't that well. I don't think he played that well in the game. So that could have, you know, that's going to mess with his draft status, and that's what I think I'm seeing now. Whether he get drafted or not, he's going to know that in the 6th, 7th round based on what his agent is telling him. So if he's not going in the 4th round, the 5th round, and his phone is ringing and teams are trying to recruit him, you kind of have a idea of what's going to happen. So at that point, you need to figure out what teams you need to go to. All right, so if you're not a priority free agent, which I think Isaiah Bolden and the rest of the guys at Jackson State may be in that kind of boat, you're going to have to be flexible. So your phone may not ring in the 6th or 7th round. It may not ring that day, or maybe it just be somebody checking in. I'm going to call you next week. I'm going to call you in a day or so to see where their numbers are. So some guys may say, hey, I'm going to the Miami Dolphins, but they got another offer to go to the Falcons at the last second, or they felt like the Falcons will be a better fit for them, which can happen because at this point, it's really college recruiting. They can change their mind because there's no contract signed and go halfway across the country. So that's when you know your numbers are set. So they're going to have to be in a different kind of boat and be willing to play the waiting game, saying, okay, Where am I going to go? And this is where, unfortunately, relationships matter. If you have agents that's connected, he can lean on a few coaches to say, "Coach, let's get this kid right now since we can get, what do you call that? A bird in the hand right now. I know I can get him in camp, and he's not going to go to another team." That's when relationships really matter as a NFL agent or being represented by an NFL agent. So, you sit by the phone, wait to see where you're going. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes a while. It may take a few weeks, but you got to be ready for your opportunity. And sometimes teams have mini camps, and what these mini camps are just tryouts, and they're not invitation to actual training camp. So if you get a mini camp tryout, that doesn't mean you're on the team. You got to go there and compete with a lot of world class athletes, the athletes you don't even wouldn't even think would be there because you would think they got drafted, and that's not the case. You're gonna have to fight to get there. Anyway, that's what I feel that the rest of the players there at the pro day is gonna have to encounter, but it's gonna be fine. They're gonna get through it, and they're really gonna figure out whether they want to play football or not in the NFL. And from that point, your phone ain't ringing. Hey, CFL right there for you, baby, because the CFL takes 2 or 3 days to draft each and every uh, eligible college player that had any kind of grade on them. So from there, you're going to be able to call someone in the CFL to see where you got drafted and who owns your rights. And if you can negotiate a way to go there, you can. Now the money's not the same, but that's another story for another day. Hope you all liked it. I'm just dropping the game and experience that I've been through and what I'm seeing and what I saw on the pro day today at Jackson State. Heritage Sports.